All right. Wait, hold on. There we go.
Get
Okay,
those
just
stretches
gotta
in. Yep.
get that stretching. Yeah, so what's good, y'all? This is Robert. Welcome to the second interview that I've done today. So, like, literally the first day I'm actually doing this after getting back from vacation. So, it feels good to be back. But regardless, we're gonna be chatting for at least a couple minutes, give or take, but we're going to be talking to somebody who's been in the business for a while. You've seen them on Twitter, and I'll just do it. This is Isabella Tugman in the corner. Like, she's already here and raring to go. So, yeah, I'm not going to do like the long hype intro.
The long intro. I mean, it
Yeah.
could go on for a while. I know I've been doing, I mean, I've been in the entertainment industry since I was like a little kid. It's been my lifelong pursuit, so I've kind of done a little bit of everything. Voiceover is my main focus now, but I was like an opera singer, musical theater, stage, film, you name it. I've done all kinds of stuff. And even in voiceover, I do character work and video games and animation and audiobooks and audio dramas and even commercial and corporate and you name it, I do it. So yeah, thank you for having me. This is fun.
Anytime. So, I guess my first question that I usually ask now is not the generic, how did you get started, but more like, how has this year been for you, 2023, since this is October and it kind of felt
Yeah.
like January was just yesterday. So, yeah, we could just talk a little bit about, how this year has been for you as far
Yeah,
as
this year has
everything.
been
Yeah.
flying by. I've been
Yeah.
very fortunate this year. A lot of the, being a voiceover is kind of like being a farmer. You plant seeds and kind of wait and watch how they grow and you nourish those seeds. And I feel like a lot of my seeds have been sprouting this year and I've been very busy. And I'm growing my career and I have been for years and it continues to grow and I'm just really grateful keeping busy with all the projects I have. So, yeah, it's good. It's been a good year.
Yep, absolutely. Because for me, I literally just have been getting emails for like auditions, and I've literally just still been kind of doing my own thing, like applying for rosters,
Yep.
working on a demo, and just doing a lot of the business, and still creating stuff on the time if I'm not like actively swamped with VO, which
Right.
it's nice to stay productive and just still maintain that the drive and still manage to what am I trying to say? And you're just still trying to juggle life and still managing
Of
to continue
course, you
pursuing,
find the
this.
balance.
Yeah,
It is because
yeah,
there's an unlimited amount of things that you could do,
totally.
and you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So trying to manage all that, I struggle with that because I have a million
Yeah.
things I want to do, and I keep signing up for courses and then not having time to take them. So I have like all
Uh,
these like passive courses that I've signed up for but haven't taken yet. And then I have some like live courses, and then I have like a workshop this weekend. I'm gonna try to write a one woman show. And when will I have time to produce that? I don't know. But I just always keep adding more things onto the schedule. But yeah, it's fun though. I like to keep busy.
totally, because we're all kind of like I think I was pretty much saying this in the last interview, but we were just kind of talking about like entrepreneurship, and we're all kind
Yes.
of like our own bosses, and we set our own
Yep.
time schedules and do
Yep.
all this mumbo jumbo, and we just kind of get sidetracked a little bit. But most importantly, we just never that passion and that fire just never diminishes, give or
Yeah,
take.
I have to force myself to stop and like have boundaries and office
Yeah.
hours and like I have family, I have friends, I have other
Oh
responsibilities, I have
wow.
my
Like,
health. I gotta like
yeah.
spend time on those things too. But yes, of course, like this being my calling and I never stop thinking about all the things I want to work
Totally.
on and I would just be 24/7, but that's not healthy. So I have to
Exactly.
stop myself.
It's
I've structured my day and my life in a way that, right, I make time for other things that are important too, of course.
you know what's funny?
Hmm.
Like, you go on social media or you just post something on Twitter, and it's like, wait a minute. And this literally happens. Like, I'm not sure if it's happened to me, but I know it's happened to other people, to others, like my friends, colleagues, where it's like, hey, by the way, I'm at a park, or like they're fishing, or they're just doing like, I don't know, mundane, relaxing activities, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, they're alive? And it's like, we do have a life outside of the
I mean, I think it's important, and I'm
yeah,
guilty of this, being the overachiever, like tunnel
yeah,
visioned actor. Like I always knew wanted to be an actor and thought about it every day, and like surrounded myself with all the things that can, make me a better actor. But life is what ultimately enriches you as an actor. You need to have hobbies and friends and be around people in the world, because otherwise, when you play those characters, you're not going to have anything authentic to bring to the table like
yeah.
a real human with a life would. So it's important to find that balance. I've
It can,
That's been a hard lesson for me
yeah,
to learn. Like, make yourself balance. Like, you cannot be a machine and
definitely.
just
Yeah.
do, work all the time. It just
It
doesn't work.
it recharges your batteries, and it can even
Yes.
strengthen your
It strengthens
reads. Yeah.
everything. Absolutely.
It
That
really
life
does. It really
enriches
did.
your performance and your life. It's important.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you've always wanted to do acting since you were a kid.
Yes.
So I guess if we were to go back to like young Isabella from like, I don't know, when you were a kid to like when you were growing up, like how was it like, being, growing up and having those dreams and passions and then eventually turning it into a reality, into a full-time
Yeah,
career?
it's both a gift and a curse because not everybody knows what they want to do, and that's fine. But when you know what you want to do, and that thing happens to be one of the hardest, most competitive industries ever, it's hard. It's hard to attain that. And I was a toddler wanting to do this. I wanted to be a child star on Disney, Nickelodeon, whatever. But I
My
lived in
gosh.
Kansas. I didn't have the environment or the resources to be in those types of productions. And as much beg as I begged my parents, they were not gonna do that. So they were like, no, you can get involved in community theater, but we're not going to LA. We're not going to New York. No. And that's understandable. They have lives and boundaries too. So that's basically what I did. I did anything I could with what I had, which in Kansas was community theater, which I'm grateful for. That's a great opportunity to learn and grow as a performer. Just it wasn't the large scale that I wanted, of course. But I always was seeking some kind of, opportunity, and I got really into music. I'm a singer, and so I did a lot of choral productions and took voice lessons and did recitals and stuff like that. But my real opportunity, of course, came when I became an adult, and college was non-negotiable for my family, but I was at least able to major in performing arts. So that was kind of the start of all that. I moved to Los Angeles. I was going to start my career right out of college. Life takes turns, things interrupt. I kind of deviated for a while. I had some trauma, but I never stopped learning and doing things. Like, I learned filmmaking, I learned the production side, I learned film being a producer. I started producing films. So in a lot of ways, even though my life didn't go as I'd planned it, I learned control's an illusion. You can't force your path in any one direction. You can try, but things happen, life happens. But there's always opportunities to learn along the way, no matter where you are. And eventually, yeah, I found my way to voiceover because I was dealing with health issues, life issues, whatever, life. And voiceover became something I could do from anywhere, regardless of what my health was doing. And it's something I'm deeply passionate about. And always have been. It's another facet of performing arts. I grew up loving, animation and video games, and even sitting in the car listening to commercials and radio imaging. Like, I always performed those voices I heard. So it's a natural fit for me, especially coming from singing. And I love it. It's been wonderful. I've just been focused on that and growing it ever since. So that's a
Right
little bit of
on.
my journey. Maybe a little long-winded, but
No,
kind
I
of
love it.
yeah, thanks. Kind of a little overview of how I ended up where I am today.
Right on. So I guess even with all of those experiences, I like how it didn't really stop or deter you from continuing to
Never.
pursue VO. No, yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. It's like the gift and the curse. Like they say, never give up on something you can't go a day without thinking about. And for
Oh,
me,
totally.
that is literally me. I can't remember a day in my life from my earliest memories where I have not wanted to be a performer, an actor in some capacity. And that's I talk for a living, can you tell? I've allowed that to grow and evolve, and I think that's important, because again, life can go take you in different directions that you don't plan or expect or anticipate. And that's okay. So I've allowed my career to go from, oh, I want to be a film actress to, oh, okay, I really feel like opera might be a good path. Oh, I like musical theater because it's a more free way to express, the acting and singing that I'm used to. And then I kind of like, then again found my way to voiceover, but you just kind of let yourself go and figure out where you fit and what works for you. And I'm grateful that I'm able to build a career doing voiceover. Yeah.
Yep. I know that you kind of lived. I think you kind of moved around from time to time because you were.
Hmm.
I think from what I could gather, you were in Los Angeles and then New
Yeah.
York and Austin, Kansas
Oh
City.
yeah.
So I think I was
I've
just
lived in
talking to
7 states. Yeah. Yeah.
wow. So
I know.
based out of Phoenix, Arizona. So my question
Yeah,
is,
currently. Mhm.
how did you manage all of just moving from one city,
Yeah.
one state to the next, all across the United States? I'm just kind of
It's a lot.
curious.
I'm
Yeah.
sick of moving. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Really, it was just going where life took me. I fully anticipated to live in Los Angeles and stay in Los Angeles. But life took me other places, and for various reasons, I realized maybe that wasn't my place, or whatever. Like the East Coast, I love I love the idea of Broadway. I've always loved musical theater and Broadway. And I loved going up to New York City and seeing shows, but my health wasn't so great in the East Coast. So I moved to Texas because I do better with warmer weather. And Texas has lots of great opportunities. But it still was like too rainy. And then it just like different opportunities came up in my life where I've ended up in Phoenix. This is where I want to put roots down. I still, of course, would love to work other places. I'm willing to travel to work, maybe get a secondary place in LA at some point down the road. But yeah, I'm happy to stay in LA and be done moving. It's too much moving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's hard to
because
move.
moving is definitely no joke, especially if you're moving out of state.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Um, I am thankful that I'm in the LA area, and it's kind of like the main hubbub for Disney, Warner Brothers, da 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 da.
Right.
But it's kind of
Exactly.
like that's where most of the big stuff is at. Um,
There's pros and cons with it.
totally,
There's
yeah.
goods and
There's
bads.
pros and cons. I mean, definitely, it's expensive.
It is
That's the
very
main catch.
expensive. It
Also,
is.
some other stuff I'm not gonna get.
Well,
Yeah,
and
like
I
there's a
worry
lot to
like
get into California. Yeah.
yeah, I mean I loved living in LA. But yeah, I mean not everybody can live in LA. They may have family responsibilities or health responsibilities. I know somebody whose doctor is somewhere and they need to be around their doctor. Like I'm an advocate for remote work because there's a lot of amazing talents that we can source from around the world who aren't just in LA. Um, and if you really have to have them in LA, you can, have them travel just for that little amount of time. But mostly with technology today, we can have great home studios. Like, I can have an engineer tap into my interface and control my audio while I'm recording in my booth. Like, it's not so different. I've worked with engineers to treat my space and my mic and optimize everything. It's just like you don't really need to be in studio anymore. So of course I want to work with those big companies and hopefully they don't rule me out for being in Phoenix, but I'll go to LA too if I have to. But this is my home base. I'm staying, but
Yeah. God bless remote recording.
oh my gosh, yes. It's been amazing, especially during the pandemic. Gosh, yeah, life-saving.
Yeah. So for you, I know that you've kind of been doing this for a while.
Mhm.
Because I know with remote recording, that's definitely taken more of like, I mean, for voiceover in general, it's kind of been like, it's kind of, it's still growing and it's still like, it's like when
It's
you really look at
huge.
it, it's like, it's huge, but especially
Yeah,
more so after, we've been in this little thing for like over 3 years. My God. But,
I know.
yeah, it's definitely been like, oh, yeah. I definitely do think that it's one of the most like convenient, like, getting to record from home where you could just literally wake up in your PJs and then just, get started right away.
Well, I
Um,
recommend you maybe do some warm-ups and make sure you're
yeah,
ready to go. If you have a really
yeah, that
strenuous
too.
session, you may wanna, like, vocally
Yeah,
prepare so you don't hurt
definitely
yourself.
do
But I
warm-ups. Yeah,
agree, there are advantages, and I was recently interviewed, for Wired magazine, about accessibility in voiceover and
yeah,
beyond, and I think that's the biggest advantage is that, if you do have a health issue, it allows you to do your best work because you can prepare in your home environment with whatever you need. I know a lot of people, I have a friend with brain trauma who needs to take a lot of naps. Personally, I deal with some pain and fatigue and stuff too, that it helps for me to have my home environment. I have my infrared sauna, I have my like anything I could possibly need right here to do my best performance. And I don't have the fatiguing journey of sitting in 3 hours of traffic in Los Angeles and, so many other limitations or, exhausting things you may need to go through to get to a studio. Um, so it's a more comfortable, flexible way for us to be able to show up and, I think dedicate more time and energy ultimately to the work that's important rather than getting to the studio and dealing with LA, the cost, the time, the smog, whatever. Like, I was sick in LA when I first moved, same with New York. The smog was making me sick. So, like, that's a factor for me too. I'm just sensitive. So, yeah, fresh air is good. Having enough rest is good. Having my resources is good to show up in the best energy, mindset, health state I can to do my best work. And I can do my best work from home.
yeah. I think the same is with me too because I usually do.
Oh,
I've done a
mic
lot of
fall.
really good work. I've done a lot of really good work, and then I've also like, um, because I know like being in a studio is like you get to work with the directors and work more closer to, the crew that are working on the show. Like, you're working with a director, then you have the sound guys, and I mean, I'm gonna say this right now. Throughout the course of the pandemic, we really should just give sound engineers the respect that they really deserve. Like
Oh, they always deserve
they really do.
mad
They
respect.
have to pull
Yeah.
off. Like it's not just the actors and directors, but it's really them that really they really work so hard to make sure that everybody is in sync and the
To
process
manage
is,
the
yeah,
consistency when
managing,
you're
yeah, the
outside a
consistency,
studio, I understand, especially when
yes.
people were trying to figure out putting their home studios together for the first time and they maybe weren't so well optimized and established. Like, my studio is really established. I've had time to fine tune it and work with pro engineers to make sure it sounds great. But I know having to manage like oh my God, we have to do this last minute kind of thing that was the pandemic and all those different actors, I understand that's challenging, and I understand where that is valuable to have in studio work, and I still love going into studio too, I'm all for it. I just mean, like, open it up to, create more accessibility and diversity in casting. But like I said, I can literally have an engineer tap into my studio to manage it, which is cool. Um but, oh gosh, what was I gonna say? There was another point on that too. Oh, and I don't feel like I'm so isolated, recording from home either because now we get on a Zoom session. I've been live with plenty of directors and other actors collaborating together, and I don't feel like it's any different. And in some ways is even better. Again, there's pros and cons. Again, I mean, good and bad, but it's very
Yeah.
doable.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. Um, so I think for my next one, it's since you mentioned like, going outside and doing this, um, just to step away from the booth for a little bit, like what is something that really helps you stay, um, if not staying motivated, what keeps you like, that helps when it's time to just take a mind off and you need to turn off, I guess, your brain for a little bit from like acting and stuff. What helps you stay consistent and to keep that you know energy, like recharging your battery, so to speak, if you need to take some
Rest
time away
is
from.
huge for
Yeah,
me. Yeah, I'm a big napper. Naps definitely help me.
yeah, wish I
So
was the
I like to take a
same.
nap. Oh, I have to. Like my body will demand it. It's just time for a nap. But I like to read. I like to play video games. If there's a really good movie or something that sucks me in, then I enjoy that. But I'm kind of picky at this point. After studying filmmaking, it's ruined a lot of stuff for me. But yeah, I love storytelling. So if I'm able to escape in another world, that's relaxing for me, whether that's video games or storytelling or dreams, I guess, sleeping. But rest is essential, yeah. Taking lots of, drinking lots of water, I sit in my infrared sauna, I do yoga, I meditate, yeah, relax with my pets. I like to cuddle with my pets, that always is good too. Therapeutic.
We definitely love pets.
Yes, pets are essential. Another
Yeah,
pro to being at home. I can go squish a
yeah,
cat between breaks, be like, "I love
exactly.
you." Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
stress reducer.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges or like hurdles that you have to overcome? Like work against a full-time voiceover artist. What are some of the biggest, like,
As a voice actor or
obstacles?
personally, or both?
It could be both, specifically more for
Yeah.
VO. Yeah,
Yeah, so with like any voice actor, you're a freelancer and you're always looking for work, and sometimes there are dry periods. So, you're just always hustling, you're trying to manage your time. I wear a lot of hats. So, I'll try something for a while and I'll have to decide, is this working for me? Is this a good use of my time? Or should I devote it to something else? So I'm constantly reevaluating my time and my efforts. Am I focusing more on audiobooks right now, or am I focusing more on corporate work? Where is my money coming from? And how am I getting those jobs? So I used to be very audition heavy. I was doing 20 or more auditions a day. And then I started shifting more into audiobooks, which takes more of my time, but I audition less. Like it's just different phases of my career. So I find that one of the hardest things is deciding what to do with my time because there's so many different ways to go about this. And yeah, and it's just time management and deciding what resources and what niche to focus on at any given time. And it's always changing, this industry. So yeah, I think at some point I need to start like hiring some people to divvy up other responsibilities because I only have so much time as an entrepreneur, as a solo entrepreneur, business owner. That's the hardest thing.
yeah. And what would you say are some of the most fun or just anything that at any point in your career, like is it a project, is it a character, or what is something that that helps remind you why you love doing this in the first place?
Yeah, for me, it's character work, it's good storytelling. So, you know, I love corporate work. It pays the bills, but I love something with a good story. And for me, lately a lot of good audiobooks, so I'm loving doing those, but there's one show that's coming out soon called Potent Dogs, and it was a Korean smash hit cartoon, and it's being dubbed into English now, and I have the honor of being several characters in it, and I get to sing. So for me, not only is this a cartoon with singing, one of my favorite things to do, I get to do different character voices, but the storytelling is so good. It has a good cause. It was to raise awareness about better treatment of dogs in Korea because they don't always treat their dogs so great, and a charity organization overtook it here in America, and a lot of the proceeds will be going to charity to help animals, and that is a cause I care deeply about. So it checks off so many boxes for me. It's great storytelling. It's a cartoon. I have character voices. I have singing. It's just great. And the show itself is just so funny, and it's got heart and action and everything I could want in a cartoon. So super excited for that one. But I love so many of the projects I do. Any opportunity is exciting for me, even the corporate ones. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I love it all.
Yeah. So let's talk about them audiobooks.
Sure.
Yeah, I might have talked about this before, but for you personally, like, would you say that it's your main bread and butter when it comes to
You
voiceover
know,
specifically?
lately it kind of has been. It changes. Like I said, that's where kind of following the trends of voiceover goes. For a while, I had kind of a love-hate relationship with it because they're so long and so hard and so labor intensive. And it's really easy to get in your head about, am I doing a good job? Because you don't have anybody to bounce off of. You're not getting direction. You're self-directing. I mean, that's not true. Sometimes you have directors. But for the most part, I'm alone performing the whole thing, and it's easy to have imposter syndrome. But I did notice I was getting a lot of work in it, and I am strong with characters, and I do love the storytelling, and I am a huge book lover. So this year I really decided I'm going to learn and train and get better at audiobooks, and the fruit of my labors is showing. I'm booking some really good series right now that are coming out soon. I have a thriller series called the Glenville series coming out. I have a really beautiful, sweet, perfect beach read, like sweet it's very sensory. It has, like, lots of food and stuff. It's called The Lighthouse Cafe. That's coming out soon. Adorable series. I'm working on a really cool post-apocalyptic series right now. It's like a pandemic series, kind of like a Walking Dead type thing, but not with zombies. Um, just a lot of cool stories, and so lately it's been a lot of audiobooks. Yeah. But I've done some video games too, some animation, some musicals. I've got a lot of shorts coming out. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, and what would you say, like, take us through the audiobook process.
Sure.
Do you find it to be, I mean, I know you've been doing it for a while, but do you find it to be like, I know you mentioned that it's really fun, but would you say that it's also like a process to say the least
It is a
because of like,
process. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
oh
It
man,
is
that's
a
like a
process, and that's why I said
whole
when I
different can
first
of worms,
started.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, no, I think it's one of the hardest things to do because it's just so long. It's so labor intensive, and I'm producing the full audiobooks. I'm just now starting to reach out to publishers, where they send out the production and have their engineers do it. But for the most part, I've been the engineer. I've worn all the hats. So short of writing the book, I auditioned for the book. I'm awarded the book, the contract. And I read the whole book, I prep it, I look at all the characters, all the accents. If there's an accent I don't know, I have to train for that accent. I have to analyze the tone and look up spellings, and then just recording it. It takes hours and hours and hours. Each finished hour, depending on the complexity of the book and how well trained you are, it could be, if you're really good, 3 hours of production time, and sometimes if it's really complex or you're a little slower or you're tripping over yourself a lot, it can take 10 hours to make 1 hour of audio. So, very time intensive. But the good thing about that is because each book is usually more than an hour long, you're working on one project and you have work for a while, so they can pay well. Um bulk work wise. But it's not quite like a commercial that you can get $2,000 in 30 seconds. Those are great, but those are competitive and fewer and far between. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of audiobooks out there, a lot of good audiobooks to be produced. So it keeps me working, keeps me busy for sure. And they are a lot of fun. You get to play every role, every character. Yeah. I could
Yeah.
elaborate more on the process if you want. But yeah, I record, edit, master. upload, proof, proof before upload, fix the mistakes, upload, invoice. There's a lot. Audition, always auditioning. Just
Yeah.
stumble over myself 50,000 times. That's usually how it goes.
But at least you're
Make a lot
getting
of mistakes.
paid. Yeah,
I am
getting
getting
paid
paid
for
and
your
I am grateful for
mistakes.
getting paid. Well, not for the mistakes. I have to fix the mistakes. But
Yeah,
I
but
I
still,
I hear myself,
it's
I
work.
monitor myself as I record. I stumble, I stop, I go back, I record. I do the technique called punch and roll. So I punch in where I mess up and it'll like roll back the audio. I listen to it and then I keep going. So
Sounds really punch in a roll. Okay.
punch and roll. That's what you call it. You punch and roll. Punch. Yeah, punch and roll.
Yeah, just punch a
So
wall and
yeah, I'm just like punching stuff in here. That's why it's a padded room, guys, because
yeah,
we're just
it
crazy,
can also be a
dense.
good. It can also be a rage room. Let's just be
It
real.
could totally. It's
Yeah.
suitable for us crazy people talking to ourselves in a padded room all day. This is what I do. So yeah.
Oh,
So I don't want to hurt my baby, my expensive little cave for
yeah,
voiceover.
because these are not cheap, y'all.
They are not cheap. I invest a lot of money into my
Oh
business.
yeah.
But yeah, but it's great. I love it. Like I said, it's a labor of love. I never get sick of it. I never get burned out. I could do this all the time because I'm crazy. It's just a calling for me. And I think that's for the people who are truly successful in this, that's what it is for them. It's a calling. It's not a job. And yeah, there's a lot of like sweat equity that goes into it before you start making a living. And I've paid my dues. Yeah. So I'm grateful to be making money and doing well.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, what are some other like facts that you wanted to share?
Other what?
Like fun facts, like
Oh, fun
anything that you
facts.
wanted to. Yeah.
Oh boy, you might need to narrow down the category with that. About voiceover in general, do you have questions about voiceover? Do you have questions about me personally, my journey? I don't know. Narrow it down. Let's see. What do you
Let's
want to
see.
know?
I guess personally,
Mm-hmm. Fun
yeah,
facts.
like
Well, I already said I've lived in 7 states.
yeah,
I am an actor and singer extraordinaire. I can also dance. I'm actually a triple threat, but I'm not using the dancing much in this capacity. I like to think someday I get to be hired for mocap stuff, motion capture, where they put you in a funny suit and track all your movements. I'd love to do that. That you go into a soundstage and do. But yeah, I'm trained as an opera singer and for musical theater, and I know filmmaking, and also outside of the performing arts world, I practice yoga. Yoga is very healing, meditation. I love animals, which I said, so I have 4 pets. I have 2 cats and 2 small dogs that might as well be cats. I love spicy food. I love ethnic cuisine, Indian food, Thai food, you name it. Love spicy food, Mexican food. Eat way too much of that. Um, I love to travel. I've been quite a few places now. I've been to France, Italy, Poland, Israel, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, all over the United States. Um, I speak French. I was nearly fluent, but then didn't have anybody to talk to for the longest time. So I'm trying to like Duolingo and practice again. But I've also studied Spanish, Italian, German, love accents, language. Again, this all feeds into like my love of storytelling and books growing up and just the art of speaking and reading and the human languages. It's just been an obsessive thing. So I try to play as many video games as I can with time willing. I never have enough time.
yeah.
Um, I love VR. I love doing VR workouts too, which is super fun, super natural. I have free codes if anybody needs them, just
I
reach out.
thought you were gonna say VR
Um,
chat.
oh, I don't get so much into the chat stuff. Maybe it's just I mean, I feel like Gen Z, and this is just part of being younger. You just like go hang out in chat rooms. And I used to do that back in the AOL days. Oh God, am I aging
Oh my
myself? Where we had the AOL chat rooms. And
god.
yeah, you like hang out. But now I'm like, I don't really just want to hang out and
MySpace.
talk. I want to like do things. I want storytelling. I want
Oh my
interactive.
gosh. Remember
objectives.
MySpace? Ooh, that was a
Oh
trip.
god. Oh, I had a MySpace. MySpace was cool. I mean, you had like music
This
playing on
was
your
before
page and
Facebook. Yeah, took
oh
over.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I was one of the first people to get Facebook back in the day. I was like invite only. Well, I was one of the first high schoolers, I should say, because it was college
God,
first, then they opened it up to high school. So I was one of the first high schoolers back when it was invite only. God, old school. So yeah, I've been in the social media game since the beginning.
yeah, the social
Um,
media. Yeah,
oh yeah. And I love
that's
social
an
media and I'm
interesting.
all over it now. So feel free to find me on social media. I'm at Izzy Voiceover on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love I mean I'm a social person. I love chatting with people, but I also only have so much time. So I'm not a big
exactly.
fan of just like going and hanging out in the chat room and like I just
Yeah,
don't have time for it.
that's it. Mhm.
But yeah, if people have like a specific thing to talk about where they want to reach out to me, that's cool. Um oh gosh, what else? Fun facts. I don't know. I don't know. Any other questions that come to mind? There's so many things.
Um, yeah,
Life is
like
full of things.
with social media, it's like that's a whole different like podcast episode on its own. But it's like,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about this before, but it's knowing your audience and knowing who you want to reach out to and just using it effectively and not using it to destroy like your credibility or reputation. That's pretty much all I'm going to
Yeah,
say about it.
you
Yeah.
have to right, of course.
Know
It's
how
a
to use
public
it.
thing.
Yeah.
So, anytime you put something out there, you have to expect it to kind of be there forever. And there are
Permanently.
consequences if you say
Yeah.
things. And I'm not, I mean, I'm kind of a pacifist by nature. I'm not really here to like ruffle feathers and say shit. Like I make jokes, maybe, but I don't need to post drama. I've had enough drama in my life. I like to keep the drama to the stage. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I never aim to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever, and I genuinely feel bad if I do. So that's not my game. I'm just here
Yeah.
to spread love and create good storytelling and quality entertainment and hopefully to inspire somebody out there and that's what I'm about.
Yeah. Any last words?
Just thank you. I'm grateful for you to have me today, and it's been fun to chat. And I hope I offered something of value or entertainment, like I said. But yeah, you know where to find me on social media. I'm around.
Yep. So thank you for watching, and yeah, it's really lovely getting to have you on it, Isabella, and
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you
I
so
mean it.
much.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with that said, I thank everyone for, sticking around and just supporting us. I don't really have an outro for this, so I'm just gonna say thank you and have a lovely rest of your day, and this will be up soon. Until then, peace.